Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. I am your host, Rusty Peace, and we got a lot to talk about, as usual, tonight in terms of Lincoln Memorial University athletics. Great weekend for the LMU athletics programs. We're going to talk about that. The LMU soccer team's playing very well. We're going to talk later on in the show with LMU head coach Helio D'Anna about his team's success and about what's in store for them over the next week or so. Jenny Michael and her club picked up a big home win last weekend over a conference opponent, Brevard College. We'll talk about that and about Saturday's match with Lenoir-Rhyne and what they've got coming this weekend on the road. The LMU cross-country teams traveled down to Greenville, South Carolina as they participated in the Furman Classic, and we'll talk with Jeremy Donahue a little bit and give you an insight as to what took place there. And the LMU golf teams got the fall schedule started. The Lady Railsplitters with a bang down in South Carolina as they took the championship. The Railsplitters finished fourth in theirs. We'll talk about that and more when we come back right here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Stay with us.
Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Subway of Harrigan and Middlesboro has your fresh interest at heart. On your way to work, try one of our mouth-watering breakfast sandwiches or flatbread omelets. If it's lunch or dinner you're after, choose from a wide selection of classic, select, or premium sandwiches that are all made specifically to order. Serving a crowd, Subway also has sandwich platters, giant subs, box lunches, and even cookie platters. Be it dine in or carry out, you can eat healthy and eat fresh at Subway. 368 Catawba Avenue in Harrigan and on the corner of the Village Square Mall, Middlesboro. You love your car or truck? Let us help you keep it clean at Soapy J's. Soapy J's has unlimited wash plans to fit every budget. Try our $5 express wash or one of our 3 monthly wash plans. The Wheel Deal, the Soapy J, or the new Blast Wax. With our monthly wash plans, if you pay with credit card, all you do is pay for the present month and your card will be billed on the first of each month. Don't forget, Soapy J's has free vacuums with any wash. Soapy J's Express Car Wash, open 7 days a week. Let us help keep your car or truck clean at Soapy J's. Soapy J's on the Cumberland Gap Parkway, Middlesboro. Their institutional case good or architectural woodwork. Nolan Products Incorporated of Knoxville has been serving East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, and Southeast Kentucky since 1958. From concept to finish, Nolan Products custom builds to the highest quality standards to meet your facility specifications while using only the finest materials available. Nolan Products has been serving and meeting the needs and requirements of general contractors and architects in East Tennessee and surrounding area for more than 55 years. Nolan Products Incorporated, 912 Forsyth Street Northeast, Knoxville.
Welcome back to the show. Last Friday evening, the Lincoln Memorial University volleyball team got the weekend started when it played its home and South Atlantic Conference openers against the Tornadoes of Brevard College in front of a great crowd and with the LMU Pep Band in attendance. The Lady Railsplitters entered their first home and conference match of the season after an impressive opening weekend in Savannah, Georgia that saw them drop a tightly contested match against the Pacers of USC Aiken before bouncing back to win their final 2 outings over Erskine College and then number 25 nationally ranked Armstrong Atlantic State University, both in 3-2 decisions. Friday evening's match with Brevard, while played in the Mary Mars Gymnasium, was to be no easier for the Lady Railsplitters as LMU got off to a slow start in the opening set, but eventually pounded out a narrow 25-23 win. From there, things got a little flat for LMU as Brevard came back to capture 25-22 and 28-26 wins to take 2 sets to 1 lead in the match. Feeling the urgency, the Lady Railsplitters caught fire late in the 4th set to edge Brevard 25-15 and to send the match to a 5th and deciding set. Although Friday's final stanza proved to be a close one, the Lady Railsplitters seized a 16-14 victory to win their 3rd straight 3-2 decision and to move to 3-1 on the year. After the match, Mike Smith and I talked with senior setter Abby Cash.
We got going, it was great. It was amazing. Momentum was a huge shift for us. At the beginning, I could tell we were a little anxious and a little nervous to be out on home floor and show out for everybody, but it definitely went in our favor the rest of the game.
Saturday, the LMU women played host to Lenoir-Rhyne University. The Bears entered Saturday's match with a 1-3 overall record and eager for their first conference win, despite having lost their last 2 matches against LMU a year ago. That and Friday evening's 3-0 loss to SAC opponent Carson Newman seemed to anger the Bears in the opening 2 sets as LR clawed out a 25-20 and 25-18 wins to put the Lady Railsplitters back to the wall, facing their first conference loss of the season. With that in mind, Jenny Michael's squad sluggishly edged Lenoir-Rhyne in the third set 27-25 to push the match into a fourth bout, but that's where the Bears put an end to things for LMU as they mauled the Lady Railsplitters 25-16 to take a 4-1 victory and to snap the Lady Railsplitters three-match win streak. That dropped LMU to 3-2 overall and 1-1 in the league. Following the match, we talked with Jenny Michael about that loss.
Fortunately, we weren't able to shake off whatever voodoo was, whatever hex we had last night. So it stuck around, reared its ugly head on the Saturday afternoon, unfortunately. But Lenoir-Rhyne played well. There's a reason why they were picked second in the conference. In the preseason poll. I mean, take it for what it is. And a lot of people are like, oh, what happened? They were struggling, but we knew better. We knew that they play us very, very well. They always like to play lights out. There's just certain teams that have those matchups that, for whatever reason, they've got their number kind of deal, and they match up really well against us. And when they match up well against us and we don't play well, it's a bad combination for the Railsplitters.
The Lady Railsplitters have a big week ahead that begins Friday evening as they travel over to Charlotte, North Carolina to take on the Royals of Queens University at 7 p.m. and then Saturday move over to Salisbury, North Carolina to take on the Indians of Catawba College at 2 o'clock. LMU will end the three-match road swing Tuesday evening in Jefferson City, Tennessee at Holt Fieldhouse when they take on the Eagles of Carson-Newman University. And Saturday morning, the LMU men's and women's cross-country teams were down in Greenville, South Carolina for their second meet of the season at the Furman Classic hosted by Furman University. Both teams were coming off of solid performances at the Swanee Invitational the previous weekend and ready to run in the event despite the bigger field of competition. Reigning South Atlantic Conference Runner of the Week, Whitney Elliott, turned in a fifth-place individual finish to lead the Lady Railsplitters to a sixth-place showing in the 6K race that consisted of 22 teams, 206 runners in that contest, representing the NCAA Division II, III, and NAIA. Elliott cut nearly 33 seconds off of her 6K time from the season-opening Swanee Invitational, where she finished as the race runner-up and earned SAC Runner of the Week honors. The La Follette, Tennessee native ran the Furman Golf Course Loop in 22:36.80, finishing fifth in the division. Her time would have placed her in the top 35 competitors in the Division I race, which featured runners from several major conferences throughout the eastern half of the United States. Elliott fell 30 seconds back of Montevello's Katie Nelson, who won the race with a time of 22:06.86. Behind Elliott, the Lady Railsplitters placed sixth with 272 total points with a cumulative time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, 19 seconds, .66. Emory won the Furman Classic with 50 points, while Montevello finished in the second place position with 57. Earlier this week, Jeremy Donahue talked about his team's performance.
Thought the result was a very positive one. We improved the week before. We talked about wanting to see the right mentality in the race coming out of it, and necessarily where we placed. While we wanted to place high in the race, we were more focused on how we were racing, so that set us up for the future, and that came true this past weekend at Furman, where we had probably as high a place finish as we could have had on that day, given the lineup we had running that day. I don't think we could have performed any better, beating some region teams that were ranked a little ahead of us, and some conference teams, of course, we want to always beat. That I think our sixth place performance in that non-D1 division was what we best we could have asked for, and very positive going forward as we look towards the conference region championship. And then, of course, Whitney Elliott at the front, and her performance, she challenged herself very strongly, running at the front of the race and with some of the top D1 talent in the region. She stuck her nose in it, faded a little bit late, but then had a very great race there that shows she's one of the best in the region.
Solid progress for the Lady Railsplitters. In the men's race, the Railsplitters finished in 8th place at the Furman Cross Country Classic on Saturday. The 8K men's race was comprised of 19 teams and 173 individual runners representing NCAA Division II, III, and NAIA. Lincoln Memorial placed 8th in its division with 244 points and a cumulative time of 2 hours, 18 minutes, 47 seconds, .96. That was the second best finish among South Atlantic Conference programs, as Mars Hill took 4th, Anderson finished 9th, Coker was 11th, and Carson-Newman placed 13th. Lee University won the Furman Classic with 74 points. Freshmen Brandon Vaughn and Blaine Benitez led the Railsplitters with in 40th and 41st place respectively. Vaughn cut nearly 22 seconds off of his time from the season opening Swanee Invitational, running the 8K event in 27:18.96. Benitez also improved upon his debut performance with a time of 27:21.84. Both would have finished among the top 90 in the Division I race, which boasted teams from the ACC and SEC.
Much the same thing. Like I said, the first race was working on our race tactics and how we compete the whole 8K distance, and then it came true this past week, where again that resulted in a positive result with conference and region teams again. That performance, knocked them up into the top 10 in the rankings in the region this past week, and it's the first time we have both the men and the women ranked in the top 10 in a number of years. So that, much like the women, their performance was one that I thought about as good as we could have asked for on that day, and one where I think they do have potential to catch some teams that beat us on that day, again, as these freshmen and sophomores continue to get more familiar with the 8K.
Both teams now have until September 26th to prepare for the Bulldog Stampede to be hosted by Wingate University in Wingate, North Carolina. And turning to golf, the second full week of September also saw the start of the fall golf schedule for both LMU men's and women's golf teams. The men were in Kiowa Island, South Carolina for the Kiowa Island Invitational, while the LMU women were at Cobb's Glen Country Club in Anderson, South Carolina for the Anderson Invitational. The Lady Railsplitters placed 4 golfers in the top 10 of the individual standings and raced away with the Anderson University Invitational title earlier this week, carding a 29 over par 317 in the final round of play on Tuesday at Cobb's Glen Country Club to secure a dominant 14-shot victory in their season opener. Lincoln Memorial established an 8-shot edge with an opening round of 321 on Monday, and the lead only grew in Tuesday's final round as the Lady Railsplitters turned in a tournament-best 317 to finish 14 shots ahead of host Anderson, who finished with a final score of 652. Lenore Ryan took third place with 663, while Erskine had 675 and Emmanuel 677 to take fourth and fifth, respectively. The Lady Railsplitters' 62 over par total 638 is their lowest 36-hole score since they posted 624 in the 2014 Patsy Rendelman Invitational, where they finished in 5th place. Additionally, the program tallied its second tournament victory in as many seasons, repeating their accomplishment from last season's Southeast Kentucky Invitational. This Monday and Tuesday, the Lady Railsplitters travel over to Etowah, North Carolina to participate in the Etowah Intercollegiate hosted by Brevard College. And the Lincoln Memorial University men's golf team finished strong in the season-opening Kiowa Island Invitational on Tuesday, shooting a 3 over par 291 to tie for 4th among a loaded 18-team field at Osprey Point Golf Course in Kiowa Island, South Carolina. The Railsplitters were tied for 8th place through 18 holes after shooting an 8 over par 296 on Monday, but they were able to vault into the top 5 thanks to Tuesday's 3 over par 291, the second best round of that day. All told, Lincoln Memorial finished with a 36-hole total average of 587. Host USC Aiken shot 284 and 289 for the 2-day total 573 to cruise past Georgia College, who turned in rounds of 290 and 289 for a 579, while Flagler shot 287 and 292 to finish with a 579 for the total tournament. The Railsplitters tied with Limestone, who posted rounds of 293 and 294, while Tusculum finished in the 6th with 289 and 301 for a final 590. On the 18 teams in contention at the Kiowa Island Invitational, 8 were represented in the Golf Week Division II National Preseason Poll this week. The Railsplitters next travel to Etowah, North Carolina to take on, or to look at the host site for the 2016 SAC Championship to be held at Etowah Valley Country Club. The first of 2 18-hole rounds tees off on Monday, September 21st for the Railsplitters, so best of luck to them in that endeavor. All right, it's time that we take a brief time out in the action. We're going to return here shortly with head coach Helio D'Anna, who is in studio with us today, and he'll be talking about his team's undefeated start on the men's side and about his Lady Railsplitters' 2-1-1 start, and they have had a lot of success this coming week. So do stay with us. We'll be back right after this on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
82. Dixie Roofing Incorporated of La Follette has been the industry's leader in commercial roofing throughout Knoxville, Tennessee and surrounding counties for more than 30 years. From medical facilities to office buildings and educational institutions, Dixie Roofing has the experience, expertise, equipment, and know-how to handle roofing needs of any commercial structure, big or small. Dixie Roofing is also on the web at www.dixieroofing.com. Dixie Roofing Incorporated.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing.
I watch golf with him. And
I watch him cook, because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
Helio D'Anna joins us in studio now. Coach, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
We've told you that the Railsplitters are undefeated with a 4-0 start. Lady Railsplitters 2-1-1, another great start. But what we haven't told you is the success they've had this week. The LMU men with a 2-0 week. The Lady Railsplitters, I think,
1-1.
1-1. So pretty good effort this week. And Coach, I know that anytime you go out on the road and pick up a win, that's a tough thing to accomplish. And I know the most recent victory for both was over in Brevard, North Carolina, the SAC schedule, and now you're 1-0 in league play.
Yeah, we spoke about the scheduling before. It turned out to be the September we're on the road, you know, but either way, the dynamic, I always like to play out of season or out of conference scheduling as strong as I can, because it matters for postseason, but it also matters for fine-tuning the things that we need to know going to conference, you know. So yeah, we won 2 games at Brevard, and possibly we could not have pulled those 2 wins had we not played as tough a schedule before, because we know now exactly where are our strengths and weaknesses and what can we do on any given day, so that's a plus.
Before we talk about the matches that you've played this week, I want to go back and talk about something else real quick. You know, entering the 2015 season, you not only had to worry about finalizing recruiting and getting your teams ready to play for their upcoming schedule. Lincoln Memorial had made the decision that they had hired a new athletic director. For a coach, that's not always something that is an easy thing, because you have to go through new policies from the administrative side and new procedures. What's the addition of Matt Green been like for you thus far?
Yeah, I mean, for one side, I'm sort of a veteran coach by now, and I believe this is my 7th. And you're absolutely correct. Every time it's a completely change of dynamics. You know, you have different philosophies, different, you know, you got to interview for your job every time. I mean, truthfully, you got to treat it as if, now I got to prove myself all over again. But I can say flat out, I am ecstatic to work with Matt Green. He, personality-wise and the way that he relates to us day to day, but selfishly speaking, the way that he's involved, and I'm sure you'll be with all the sports, on showing up at a practice day. He's been attending games on the road. He's come and stay for the game, watch the game, came after the game and discussed intelligently tactics and whatnot, and which can be scary, right? But now he's wonderful to work with. We're so happy to have him on board, and he's got energy, he's dynamic, and I think the short future will show a lot of improvements. Not complaining about anybody in the past. We've been blessed with other good ADs, but I'm happy to have him.
I think when you first meet Matt Green, one of the things that you're going to see about him is his work ethic, the way he handles things, very mature, very organized standpoint. And I would say, just speculation coming along with that, will come a high level of expectations in terms of what the coaches do with their programs, not necessarily from a wins and losses standpoint, just what kind of bar his coaches set for the team in terms of academics, civic and fraternal duties and so forth. I see him as wanting a well-rounded student athlete.
Yeah, he's involved. I mean, for those that don't know, this is a guy that attended an Ivy League school, and he's got all the tools and all the leadership characteristics to know how to push the staff and the department, and yet do that in a positive manner, and not just simply on the field, like you said. We're more than simply representing the school as a soccer team. We're also citizens and on and off the field, and I love that about it.
All right, let's talk women's soccer. Coach, this past week you had 2 matches for the women's team. Your first was down in Cleveland, Tennessee, Lee University, now a Gulf South Conference opponent. That's a regional match for you. Unfortunately, first 50 minutes went okay. The second half gave up 3 goals, and your only loss of the year.
Yeah, this is one of the top teams we're going to play out of conference, so I don't take them lightly. Tough place to play. You can even tell by the settings as you see the footage as we speak. Very narrow, very short, and we were boxed in the whole game. They know how to play at home. Obviously, they're there all the time. And it caught us at times with their just athleticism, and they're always putting pressure on us. So that day we weren't able to break it, and worse yet, when they scored the first goal, we had to kind of take chances, and they were smart enough to put a couple more. But we, at that particular day, were not completely healthy without looking for excuses, and it showed on the final results.
All right, Coach, unfortunately your first loss. Now, that said, I'm sure your main concern was to get this team back on track with your first conference opener, if that's not redundant, on Wednesday over in Brevard, North Carolina. I thought that the team went over, responded well. You picked up a 1-0 win, and that was good enough to get it done.
Yeah, and probably the hardest place to play in the conference as far as the field conditions. Very hard, very difficult to keep the ball on the ground, completely opposite from this footage you're watching. And they know how to use that field to their advantage, and we were able to take care of business, to just get in, get out, get the win, and that's what we did.
All right, the men, well, they had a pretty good week as well, almost flawless, if you will, and definitely flawless. They pick up a regional victory over Lees McRae, and then most recently Brevard on Wednesday over in Brevard, North Carolina.
Yeah, you've seen footage of Lees McRae. Lees McRae has been a thorn in the flesh. I can't remember how many years, but we've been struggling to beat this team. This is a team that recently, 3-4 years ago, played in the national championship. And although the footage looks like a green, beautiful field, again, very difficult field, full of bounces, and they know how to play there. So not many people get out of that place with a win, and we did. And that's a big regional win. And as far as Brevard is concerned, funny as it sounds, that field prepared us for Brevard. And Brevard is going to steal some wins there. They're very organized, very physical, very smart at home. And again, we were professional, got in, got out, and got our win. And boy, I'm glad to be looking past that one.
All right, well, we've got our home opener coming up this weekend. That'll be against Queens University at the LMU Soccer Complex. There you see 1 o'clock start for the women, 3:30 for the men. Coach, I'm not going to talk as much about Queens as we probably should. Let's talk about it being your first home match of the season. I know you're eager to have your team showcased here at home.
Yeah, finally we're home. Hopefully it will be a good atmosphere. Hopefully there'll be, I know the weather's going to be good, but 2 tough opponents for both men and women. And I think considering what Queens women did last year, they should be looked at as one of the top contenders this year. Not many people are talking about them. And as far as the men, they're always good. Not long ago they were in nationals and won the conference. So they're both in for a long, tough match.
Coach, I'll tell you, we as LMU fans are looking forward to having you here at home. Field looks in great shape. There's always a good vantage point regardless of where you watch the match. And we certainly hope that we're going to be talking with you in a winner's circle following both matches, and we wish you the best of luck.
Amen. Thank you.
All right. Again, that's a 1 and 3:30 start this Saturday. Come on out. Free ticket. We're going to take this time out, and we'll be back.
The Old Town Grill is a special place where you bring more than family, more than friends. Bring a hearty appetite, because at the Old Town Grill, you'll never walk away hungry. A delicious change from the ordinary. The perfect place to bring the entire family. The best food and plenty of it. Join the fun and treat your appetite to something special.
It's the OTG.
The OTG is the place to be.
Join the Vive Broadband TV revolution. Vive gives you the freedom to choose with loads of new channels like Up TV, The Hub, The Blaze, and Cubo. Vive's Watch TV Everywhere feature gives you the freedom to watch participating channels just about anywhere, anytime, on any device. And Vive Broadband Speed gives you the freedom to power internet TV services like Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV, and Google Chromecast. Join the TV revolution at vivebroadband.com.
If I got to go to college, oh my goodness. I like discovering new things. You get to see what works for you and what doesn't. That helps you evolve as a person. And you get to make like a supernova of skill or talent or whatever it is. I've always wanted to go to college. I just feel like that's my destiny. My name is Queen, and I am your dividend.
Welcome back. Not only are the LMU soccer teams playing at home this weekend, we will be broadcasting those two games through the LMU Sports Network. Again, 1 o'clock start for the women, 3:30 for the men. Pre-game coverage begins at 12:50 on the LMU Sports Network. That's right here on this station, so do join us. And don't forget that Friday night, Adam Haley will have the high school game of the week, and that's going to feature Northview Academy's Cougars against the Claiborne Bulldogs. I'm assuming that's down at Claiborne High School in Tazewell. And that game will be on 91.3 WLMU FM. So catch Adam with all the play-by-play commentary. Don't forget as well this weekend, the LMU Speed Tournament on campus. That'll start at 9 a.m. Saturday as the Lincoln Memorial University tennis teams will be hosting several other teams here. They'll play over at the LMU Tennis Complex and probably the older courts to get that taken care of. But that's a lot of action from some very good tennis quality players from a lot of teams that are going to be involved in that. So come on out and support your LMU men's and women's tennis teams, as well as the LMU men's and women's soccer teams on Saturday. That's about all the time we have. Don't forget to keep up to date on all that's going on with LMU Athletics. Pull up the LMU Athletics website, www.lmurailsplitters.com. For everybody behind the scenes of the Railsplitter Athletics Report, I'm Rusty Peace. Good night, everybody.